Overpaying for anything sucks, especially socks, so why pay $45 for a single pair of grip socks when you can spend less than half? Pure Grip Socks Pro feature our best materials for optimal fit, moisture wicking, and performance at a fair price, just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
If you were on the market for a pair of budget-friendly speed boots and had $150 or less to spend, I'd probably recommend these. The $140 Nike Mercurial Vapor 15 Pro. Effectively everything you get with the top-end Elite model that retails for $250 minus the 3/4 length zoom unit, which granted is a big deal, but for the most part this provides 90% of the experience you get from a much more expensive variation. But now there's another option that costs even less, and it's from a brand that you probably weren't expecting, New Balance. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Balance Furon V7 Destroy, the first takedown model in the new Furon lineup, with the top-end model, in my opinion, being a top 2 speed boot along with the Mercurial, and the same thing goes for the takedown. This features an upper that is very similar to what you're going to get on the more expensive variation, with the main difference being the Soleplate and stud pattern, which is actually the high-end variation taken from the Furon V5 Pro from 2 generations back. The price, $135, $5 less than the Vapor 15 Pro, and given that this is a New Balance boot and likely won't be very popular, you'll be able to get these on sale very shortly for less than $100. Which, from a value for money perspective, certainly in the speed category, is pretty tough to beat. And unlike the Mercurials and any other alternate option you have in and around this price point, there are some certain things about the Furon V7 Destroy that are unique to this football boot and perhaps might appeal to you. I know the looks leave a lot to be desired. This is definitely, at least in my opinion, not the most attractive football boot in the world, but if you're purely after fit, feel, and performance, there's a lot on offer here, and I'm going to talk about why that is in today's video, including how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, and if you are interested in a pair, you can pick them up below their normal retail price by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes by checking out the first link down below. And really quickly, if you guys enjoy seeing reviews of less expensive takedown model football boots on the channel, drop a like on the video and let me know what you'd like to see reviewed next. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you don't miss out on my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2022. So first things first, and like I just talked about, and feel free to leave your own opinion down below in the comment section, I just don't like the graphics that they used here, and it's not that they're bad. I just think that when you compare it to the top end model, which I happen to have right here, the New Balance logo highlighted in neon yellow on both the front and back of the football boot with some extra detail, these graphics look great. These graphics look borderline unfinished and honestly make the boots appear a lot cheaper than they actually are, because from a true quality perspective, these are really impressive and significantly better than pretty much all of the competition at the same price point. Speaking of quality, the upper, you'll notice that it does feature the HypoKnit branding, which you'll also find on the top-end Pro version that retails for $215, also really good value at that top price point. However, while this might not appear as premium, in terms of feel, there really isn't a lot that separates this from the top-end model. I'm going to make the argument that the top-end one does feel a little bit more pliable than this, but it's really soft. It's very sock-like. It has an incredibly soft lining material on the inside, and if you're looking for that super thin sock-like sensation against your foot with that raw barefoot feel for the ball, you are going to be very happy with what these have on offer. In terms of all the speed boots that are out there right now, between $150 and $120, this is by far the best feeling upper, both in terms of touch on the ball as well as overall comfort. It's reinforced in all the right areas. You can see here around the toe box area, just to prevent it from stretching while still maintaining its softness and pliability. And the unique aspect of this super off-centered lacing system that carries over from the top-end model, I think is something that a lot of people will really enjoy, and again, separates it from other speed boots. You have this entire area across the top of the foot to strike the ball, to control the ball, that is free of any kind of laces, and with this off-centered lacing system that typically can result in a poor fitting upper, they've just nailed the shape of these football boots. It carries over something very similar from that of the top end model, and then this elasticated knit material that feels very high quality, kind of filling in this central portion of the upper, just gives you this nice snug wrap around your foot, and then the laces do their job to help hold everything in place. Again, for $135, I could not be more impressed with the fit and feel of this upper. Which, speaking of fit, something that once again separates New Balance from every other brand of football boots right now is that you can get the Furon V7 Destroy in regular as well as wide fit variations. I have the regular fit model. It seems to fit perfectly for me in terms of overall width, but if you're somebody that really struggles with boots not being wide enough, having that wide fit option is something that I think you'll really appreciate, and again would make this a much better option over something like, say, the Vapor 15 Pro, which is not going to be anywhere near as wide if you're comparing those to the wide fit variation of these. Moving to the rear, you're going to find that the boots maintain a low cut construction. You have an internal plastic heel counter and general design that feels very similar to that of the top end model. The heel liner is this really soft microfiber material with a decent amount of padding. I quite like that. Disappointingly, on this pair in particular, at least on the right boot, you can see there's this awful fold that's kind of been glued in place on the side of the heel liner that admittedly you don't feel when wearing the boots, but for $135, you expect something a little bit better. It's not like that on the left boot, so it looks like I just have a little bit of a defective pair, something to be aware of and definitely look out for if you choose to order a pair for yourself, although I'm sure New Balance would be happy to replace them if it's something that really bothered you that much. And then the insole fully removable, and again, much higher quality than we've come to expect from takedown models. Soft liner on the surface made from a mesh material, and then a really dense, kind of high quality feeling black foam for the rest. Which brings us to the base of these football boots, where, like I mentioned earlier, this features the Soleplate and stud pattern taken from the Furon model going back 2 generations, the V5, where it's a sole plate that features a Pebax insert, but is still relatively flexible through the forefoot, fairly stiff in the lower part of the forefoot and certainly the midfoot and heel, with that highlight there in the stiffener bar in neon yellow. But I think it's the FG stud pattern that's something that you're either going to love or hate about these boots, and that you have 2 long studs in the heel and then 2 very short studs kind of a little bit further forward. And then the same thing goes through the forefoot. You're going to find some longer studs and then some really short studs. So the idea there is to reduce weight and really place emphasis on the studs that are going to be in spots where they're going to have a bunch of pressure under your foot. So you want those to dig in as much as possible. And you can see you kind of have these toe pick studs, some little spikes at the end. I don't think it's the most aggressive stud pattern in the world, certainly not as aggressive as what you're going to find from the Mercurials, and the studs as a whole are actually on the shorter side. So if you find that you don't typically play on really soft ground, you actually might appreciate the shorter studs from a comfort, traction, as well as durability perspective, just because if there's nowhere for the studs to dig in, that can typically lead to problems long term. So in terms of a hard ground layout, I actually think this is really solid. But the fact that they're giving us a sole plate that used to be featured on a top end model at the $135 price point, I think is pretty impressive. And again, in terms of what else is out there, I can't say that there's much that really compares to this layout. Which brings us to the weight. What's lighter, the Furon V7 Destroy or the Vapor 15 Pro? Both in the same size 9.5 US. We'll throw them on the scale, starting with the Mercs, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.9 ounces, the equivalent of 223 grams. Remember those numbers, and we'll throw on the Destroys, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.75 ounces, the equivalent of 220 grams. So you're talking about a weight difference of just 3 grams, which is relatively insignificant, but given the popularity of these and the lack of popularity around these, I think most people would be surprised to learn that the New Balance equivalent is actually a little bit lighter. On feet, I'm really impressed with the quality of fit and comfort of the Furon V7 Destroy. The upper, like I mentioned, really doesn't feel far off the $215 Pro model within the Furon lineup. It feels significantly better quality than what you're going to find from a lot of other speed boot options at this particular price point. And again, something that you'd expect to find on a far more expensive football boot. The off-centered lacing system being pushed so far to the outside almost gives this football boot a little bit of a laceless sensation because there is nothing across the top of your foot or anywhere here on the medial side, but the adjustability that you get from the laces still allows for a really snug and secure fit on feet, making these responsive, and again, what you expect a speed boot to feel like. From a width perspective, I think they nailed the overall shape, this of course being the regular fit variation, which admittedly for most people I think is going to be the way to go, but again, if you have really wide feet, it's very nice that New Balance do give you that option of a wide fit variation. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, if you're on the market for a pair of budget-friendly speed boots and are less concerned about having a swoosh or 3 stripes on the upper and more concerned about the fit, feel, and performance characteristics of the product that you're buying for the price that you're paying, then I definitely think the New Balance Furon V7 Destroy should be on your short list. The quality of the upper and sole plate is pretty much as good as anything. The option of regular or wide fit I think is going to make these very suitable for a wide variety of people, and the price being lower than the Adidas and Nike alternatives, certainly once these go on sale, just makes them a very attractive option. For $135, is it the football boot that I would personally buy? No, I prefer something with a leather upper, and I'd probably go for a New Balance 442 version 2 Pro. That is also an amazing football boot in terms of value for money, but if you must have something in the speed category with those speed boot fit, feel, and characteristics, then I definitely think the Furon V7 Destroy is one of, if not the best options out there. For a brand that's made some of the worst football boots that I've ever tried, they are definitely bringing it in 2022.